Welcome to Dude No Metagaming Episode 3. I am here with my good friend Chanel, Daniel,
Hello.
Eric,
Howdy.
our good friend Scotty,
That's me.
and myself, Jaime.
That was good. I liked it.
Yay. Pat
you
in the
can
back for myself.
you can take you can pat yourself on the back for that one. You can take over that from now on. No.
Oh god!
The pressure. Um so yeah, episode 3. I just want to start off heavy like a dense piece of double food cake.
Ooh.
Let's talk about alignment. Our
Ooh.
thoughts and our favorite alignment. We'll go down the list for favorite alignment, and then we'll open to a round table to just discussion on alignment in general and how we feel on it. So, Chanel, what's your favorite alignment?
Chaotic good?
Okay.
I haven't really played it much, I don't think, but seems fun.
It's a good solid choice. Daniel, what's your favorite alignment?
How to say that mine is I'm going basic and I'm going chaotic neutral.
Boo, boo this man.
Boo.
Like that's my favorite place because I just want to relax and do whatever I want.
Now I gotta switch my answer. Oh.
That, that's more strongly aligned one way or the other. I find that very interesting. I just personally don't play it because it's too much pressure.
Okay, so we got chaotic good, chaotic neutral. Eric, how do you feel about it? What's your favorite alignment to play?
I've found myself siding with lawful neutral more frequently than any of the others.
Ooh.
That can be a
cool.
hard one to play.
Yeah.
So lawful neutral. Jaime, what's your favorite alignment?
I'm a basic bitch also, so I'm gonna have to go with chaotic neutral.
Okay.
You can get the best of both worlds with it.
Why did you boo me?
I was just joking. It's a meme. People call it chaotic stupid a lot of the time because people take it because it's just like I can do whatever the fuck I want, and it's like they take it as an excuse to be carte blanche and idiot, and just be like, it's my alignment. I think if I had to pick a favorite alignment, it would probably be lawful good.
That one's lawful stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The other end of that spectrum, lawful stupid. But not to that extent, like lawful in the sense that you have a code of honor and you follow it, not to the detriment of the party, obviously. I would never play that lawful good. Where it's like, thou shalt not lie, even to thine enemy. It's like, no, fuck off. Let's talk about why we like the alignments we like. Let's just open it up to the table.
I think because you can play, the best of both with it. You can be doing good things and you can be doing bad things at the same time without having to necessarily, guess what's the word I'm looking for? Brand it, I guess. Like put a title like, oh, I'm fully good character, because you're gonna have to want to do not want to do. You're gonna do certain bad things, or you'll have tendencies to kill people or whatnot. Not saying everybody does that, just mainly myself. So that's why I like playing chaotic neutral, because I know I'm gonna do that eventually.
So the freedom to just execute whoever you want.
But still feel good about it.
Sounds kind of evil to me.
Yeah, that sounds kind of closer to the evil side to me.
But I feel good about it, so that's why it's like neutral.
Well, I guess that's one of the finer details of alignment. It's how you perceive your actions rather than how other people perceive your actions.
That's true.
Very true.
Having evil be
I th-
bad. It's so good doing it.
I think I like lawful good as a concept. It's just because it's not the easiest thing to play. Like the true like just won't strike an unarmed person, wants to take the villain alive or turn them to good, redeem them if they can. I feel like I don't know. It's like playing the hero. I want to feel good when I play a video game or tabletop. I play it to feel good. I think lawful good just fits that trope to a T. Just a paladin, lawful good paladin. Give me that any day of the week. Janelle, did you go into why you like chaotic good?
No, I did not. I don't know really.
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like Mabel's along those lines. Like she's chaotic, neutral, bordering good.
Yeah,
Just like
she's
the madness of like you're able to kill if you have to, but like the overall scheme of things, you're trying to do good, at least by your friends.
yeah, and you have the will to do good, but you're not constrained by morals or laws or ethics.
Yeah, like I want to do good, but you know, I will kill if I have to, sort of thing.
Um, that's a fair point. Daniel, you already kind of touched on chaotic neutral, why you liked it when you gave your answer. You want to expand on it, or?
No, pretty much covers it. I just like to be able to just play a game and just kind of go in any route. Um, any route my character kind of feels like going. And yeah, like you're saying, I don't doesn't necessarily mean playing it stupid. Just like, hey, if you feel like maybe you need to kill someone, like you do it. If you feel like maybe you want to help somebody, you help them. Like it's just whatever feels right at the moment. There's no like outside force guiding you. It's just whatever you feel internally.
Yeah, you're just you're like a slave to your whims almost, just whatever strikes you at any given moment.
Exactly.
Um, Eric, why lawful neutral? What gravitates you towards it?
I like the idea of adhering to a code, but then that code itself doesn't need to maintain any level of morality. Because like laws itself can, I feel like lawful neutral is like the most accurate lawful alignment, but I feel like being lawful, I don't want to say it's easier to play, but it's easier for my mind to understand as from like a player standpoint because it seems very clear where your character would or wouldn't do something. Whereas some of the other alignments, like neutral good for doing good for good's sake, it's like, well, all right, but that means like healing the enemy, and even if that like upsets the rest of your friends, it is the neutral good thing to do, right? Whereas lawful neutral, it's like, well, you mean it's not really up to me. It's just the law, so follow the law.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the I'm not going to kill you, but
Passionate,
I'm not compelled to save you.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, lawful neutral is I think when I yeah, you can still find it online. I think it's on the Wizards site, the alignment test. It was in the back of the DM's guide, I believe, or something like that. And I think I got lawful neutral as my alignment
Yeah.
when I answered it truthfully. Um, how do we feel about alignment as a concept in the game? Like, do you see it as something just like mechanics wise for like damage reduction and the purposes of bypassing it, and like for the purpose of spell effects, or like do you feel it's constricting in a sense when you're creating your character having to adhere to an alignment as opposed to like a D20 modern where you have allegiances, something that's a little more broad?
Yeah. I like D20 Modern's allegiances, and I do feel that the alignment chart is super restrictive from a character development standpoint, but then it has its purposes mechanically, like protection from lawful evil and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think I respectfully disagree on that. Well, partially because I don't know what the first thing is. I don't know what
The allegiance system basically breaks down if whoever hasn't played D20 Modern, you don't have an alignment, you have an allegiance, and like minimum of 3. You can have like as many as you want, but 3 things that your character has allegiances to, and it can be like family, you know, wealth, and then like power. And that's how your guy like prioritizes his decisions. Like his family's first, then he cares about accumulating wealth, then he cares about power. And it lets you strive towards all 3 of those things, and they don't like conflict with each other. They're all part of your character. As opposed to trying to be like, what is lawful exactly? With the capital L, lawful, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like when you have, and I guess it could apply to both, but I feel like when you have an alignment, I feel like the thing that people often think is that they have to stick to that alignment. Whereas I think that having the fact that different alignments affect different things about you are a factor that's very realistic, and that opens the doors for a lot of like your gods. Like, do they still support you when you start going evil? Because you could shift your alignment throughout the game as character development goes, but there's consequences to your alignment shifting. So it kind of makes it interesting because the consequences aren't always bad. Um, it's just something different that maybe matches more or less what you're doing. And also, if you ever don't want to be too constricted to an alignment, you could always again just go to chaotic neutral and just do whatever it is that you want to do. So you have that. You have options that keep it flexible, I think. But the different alignments do offer opportunity for entertaining and interesting gameplay because of how intricate they go into the game.
Well, even if you do start as something like chaotic neutral, through gameplay and character growth, if you do have a DM that does alignment shifts, like you will shift towards the alignment based on how you're role playing your character. So
Exactly.
it can kind of happen organically. Like Buck and Doe, what are they? Chaotic neutral?
Yeah.
They're more chaotic good now.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You've definitely crossed the threshold. Them and Mabel have both crossed the threshold to chaotic good.
Yep.
As long as they don't go lawful, because they have to be chaotic.
No, they're
They have
not
to be
lawful.
non-lawful, right? They could be a neutral bard.
Yeah, they could be. Oh yeah, I guess they could be neutral, but yeah, they have to be non-lawful.
Yeah. I think true neutral is probably the hardest alignment to accurately roleplay if you're adhering to alignments.
Well, yeah, it's either you don't care or you strive to achieve the balance, right? It's
Exactly.
either
Well,
like
I mean, it's not even that. Or sorry, striving to achieve balance is one of the ways that you could run it. But then there's a character from Star Trek Deep Space Nine who actively manipulates other people, and it's like there's a situation where he ends up killing a guy on the space station, but then using his organs to like save another person, and then you find out that the person he saved is like kind of a shitty person, but then the person he killed is like also kind of a shitty person. So it's like
It's a win-win.
your actions on their own are good, but the way you went about it is evil.
yeah. But alignment allows for this kind of discussion. And it's always going to have a place because people are always going to want to discuss, what You know, what's Superman's alignment? You know, what's fucking Walter White's alignment? People always wanna know.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I like the allegiance system more as a concept, just because it feels more character driven than just an alignment does. And alignment's just how like the universe, like your karmic justice and your karma, basically. It's just if it was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the video game, those of you who have played it, like you would have a blue background or a red background based on the bar that slid.
Yeah.
And that's just going from chaotic evil to lawful good. Slider, that's how I see it.
If they ever make a KOTOR 3, they need to have a gray Jedi version.
Dude, if you could be a Grey Jedi, that'd be dope.
Right?
Dude, Qui-Gon was a quasi-Grey Jedi.
Yeah, absolutely.
He believed in the living force, dude.
Yeah.
But that's time we can geek out on Star Wars for hours.
Yeah, right.
Well, the non-canon Star Wars stuff now, I guess.
Yeah, fucking Disney.
All those hours wasted. All that years of study gone.
The Obi-Wan books where he talks about his training at the Jedi Academy gone.
Yeah, when he actually like flunked out and had to go work as like an agricultural worker, but Qui-Gon was on the ship and like a crime happened and Obi-Wan like proved himself and he's like, "Fine, I'll take you as my Padawan." Gone.
Yeah.
God, that was oddly specific. Jaime, how do you feel about alignment? You feel it's constricting or more freeing?
That's I would label it as free, unless it would be constricting if you couldn't get away from it. But since it's flexible, it's free.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Like, I think people who say it's like it's prohibitively constricting are wrong, but I can see both sides, how you can see it as it being constricting. Like, my character doesn't fit like really any of these. And that's where you get like chaotic neutral with chaotic good tendencies. You have to add the tendencies in there because you gotta add wiggle room because it can't cover everything. But it is fraying in this fact that it's a spectrum and you can shift all over it. What is the saying? You can go from evil to good back to evil, or you can go from good to evil back to good, but if you start as evil and go to good, you can't go back to evil. Something like that. It works one way, but not the other.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that one yet.
All right.
That's good though.
I think it's important to note that even characters that are like lawful evil, like they're not necessarily bad people.
No.
Being evil doesn't make you bad.
No.
Your actions make you bad.
The Punisher would be considered lawful evil in my eyes.
Yes, absolutely.
He follows his code of conduct. He kills, but only criminals.
Yeah.
Which is evil because he is committing murder.
Yeah. I think characters. If anybody has seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I'm not. I haven't really watched it past the first season, but Detective Diaz is absolutely lawful evil. But like, she's loved by all the cast characters in the show, and she's hilarious and she has funny moments, but that doesn't make her bad for being evil.
No, it's incredibly broad being lawful evil. You can be like the maniacal, like corporate, like fat cat pig who's hurting everybody to get what he needs, using the system to get ahead. And then you got like the renegade, like the Punisher, or like a cop that uses the law to, punish people.
What was that?
So let's move on to the next topic after we got that heavy topic out of the way. Let's go into something lighter. Daniel,
Mhm.
is there any piece of media you'd like to run a campaign in?
Piece of media?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Book. It can be a movie. It can be a TV series, web series, anything. Video game. Anything you played or seen and you're like, man, a tabletop of this would be dope.
If I had to choose one, I would choose video game. Um,
Which one?
which video game?
Yeah, that's the question. Which video game would you want to run a campaign in?
Oh, like an existing thing? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought like make a D&D video game or something like that.
No.
Oh,
Who this man?
I misunderstood the question. Fuck. Not really.
There's not one thing that you've seen that you'd want to run a tabletop in.
I got a good one.
I don't think
And-
I don't think it's better than the freedom of pure imagination, because everything else, once you put in a media, it becomes limited at that point.
But wouldn't you like to try something that you've seen?
I've tried different things. I've tried video games. I've tried. I don't say how I've tried movies, but there's versions of movies.
So say that.
We'll show them how it's done. Eric.
I recently powered through the audiobooks for the first 4 books of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. And I think a lot of the concepts in the story would translate almost perfectly to a tabletop setting. One of the main concepts in the show is the existence of Knights Radiant, who are people who begin exemplifying some set of ideals, and then after they reach a specific like character development moment, they can swear the first like generic ideal. It's strength before weakness, life or journey before destination, and then life before death, or it's some ordering of those 3. But when they do that, they like unlock a level of power that is associated with their specific type of like it's like it's super deep. But when a character experiences trauma, their soul gets repaired with magic, essentially, and so that's what allows people to use magic. And some people have like a specific bent towards like one kind of magic versus another, but then swearing these ideals will unlock further levels of that magic. And it's just phenomenal. It's such a cool concept to me. There's 10 different surge bindings, and each person who learns magic in this world can learn 2 of the different surge bindings. And then like it makes you a specific kind of Knight Radiant, where like there's edge dancers and windrunners and dustbringers, and like they all have very like specific ingrained abilities. Like windrunners can fly, and they can like levitate by manipulating the direction of gravity. And then they can also like direct things. Like there's a part in the story where the main character redirects a volley of arrows straight to him rather than the rest of his crew, and he ends up blocking them with some kind of shield or whatever. But I think these abilities would work really well in a D&D setting where like where you have to be like written out completely.
No, that sounds like a really cool fucking like campaign concept, like everybody becoming one of the Knights Radiant.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and going into the different branches as like subclasses, like as you'd all, it'd be like everybody being a Jedi if we played Star Wars. But like
Right.
some of you pick
Yeah.
Guardian, and some of you pick Sentinel, and some of you go Consular, some of you mix and match. Like it seems like it could be like that.
Yeah.
Like the customization, I feel like that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think another important feature is that each person has what's called a bonded spren, and a spren is like if you play Magic the Gathering, it's like an elemental where it embodies just a part of reality. So for Windrunners, you bond with Honor Spren, and they're honorable people. And then if you're what is it, like a Truth Watcher, you bond with Glory Spren or something, and they allow you to heal people by turning them into their most idealized form of themselves. So like if it's immediately after an injury, you can like touch that person and have them like regenerate or whatever. But if it's like years and years after a person has lost a limb, their sense of self now includes that loss of limb, so you can't regenerate it anymore.
Makes sense. I like it. I like when magic makes sense like that. In a weird way, like when there's an explanation to it.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, oh, it's magic, it can do whatever you want it to. It's like, no, there's specific things, like with the limb, like it's like, no, it's they're so used to being with that loss of limb that that's their identity now. Like I can't physically bring the leg back. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's exactly
like I'm powerful. I'm not all powerful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
Good answer.
Chanel, do you have anything, any anime, any show you want to run a game in?
Yeah, I'm super basic, so I would have to say Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
A lot of people say that, and I don't know enough about it to run it, so I would have to play in it and like learn as my character learns.
Just because you could have
Daniel's
so
DM on that.
many specializations, like you could all be a wizard, but be better at certain things.
Yeah, like charms or
or like herbology.
Oh shit. Yeah, herbology. Go the Neville Longbottom route.
Or like, Fantastic Beasts or any sort of shenanigans. And just having like, instead of, let's say, not just like alignments, but like what house were you in? What school did you go to? There's several other wizarding schools other than just Hogwarts, so I feel like you would have so much to work with. It would be fun. Who doesn't want to be a wizard?
No, that's a good answer too. Like I recognize the lore and everything. It's just not anything. I don't know. It's like Lord of the Rings. It didn't click with me, and I don't know why.
I feel like it could be an acquired taste. Like if you didn't read the books as a kid, maybe.
I didn't read the books like this.
I don't know about you. But yeah, Harry Potter.
I'm sure there's really good written Harry Potter ones. Like I found a Mass Effect one that's really well designed. I'm sure Harry Potter and that Rabid fandom has whipped something up, a few things up probably over the years.
Favorite line from Mass Effect is when Jacob goes, "I'm a biotic." It's right at the very beginning of the game. It's like we know.
Yeah.
We walked into the room watching you do biotic things.
Yeah, I'm a biotic. Let me know when you want me to hit him with the good stuff. And it won't let you progress until you tell him to give him the good stuff. And it's like, you might be a biotic too. It's like, yeah, me too, bud. Watch.
Yeah, right.
It's like, nope, he's super special, guys. Super serial.
Yeah. No Caden Linka, though. Swoon.
Chanel hates Caden.
Why?
I should have saved Ashley. That's all I'm saying. I regret that decision every day, anytime we play.
Yeah, but Caden can join your team in 3. Ashley doesn't.
Yeah, she can.
She can?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I've always chosen Aiden.
Next time around, I would save her.
Jaime, anything you want to run a game in?
I've thought about it, and an Assassin's Creed based kind of game would be amazing.
Yes, it
Parkour,
would.
parkour.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
Fighting as assassins, fighting
Templars.
yeah, dude, it would be amazing.
And it would be cool because, like, planning the assassinations and, like, designing, like, maps and stuff. It'd be like designing a level in Hitman, essentially.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be like
So
people
there could be do a lot of role playing in it, and the battles would be super dope.
Yeah, I'd want something really gritty, a gritty system if I was gonna be playing Assassin's Creed. Like high risk, high reward battle system.
Very.
Like GURPS.
Yes, exactly like GURPS. Like you can take a hit to the head and you're just dead.
Yeah. Somebody hits you with a baseball bat, you're gone.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of good things about GURPS. It's just I hear it's as crunchy as a cereal bowl full of nuts and bolts.
You and I have tried it once or twice, right?
I think we got the books and looked through it and tried to build a character and we got like lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
We couldn't. We were like, what the fuck? You definitely need like an older brother there to kind of tell you GURPS.
Yeah.
Which is Fallout was originally going to be a GURPS. It was going to use GURPS as its system before the special system.
I like special.
Yeah, I think that was very clever. Geez, if there's something I want to run a game in, I think. Gosh, I don't even know. I think maybe something like a Dark Souls, where it's a dungeon crawler with again the high risk, high reward, or like in Elden Ring or a Bloodborne, where like you're beefy, but the enemies are kind of beefy too. I want to just design cool dungeons, have it be gritty and deadly, and then have a cool boss fight at the end.
Yeah.
But also have it have the hollowing system where you die, you lose your humanity, you go get kicked back to the bonfire. Like, okay, so death isn't necessarily the end. I'd probably put in a sanity mechanic that you slowly lose each time you die.
Yeah. To make it like actual hollowing.
Yeah, you eventually just start losing your mind until eventually your character becomes an NPC. They go truly hollow.
Yeah.
Start
Become a
attacking,
mindless zombie.
and they start attacking the party.
Hmm.
I think that'd be really cool. Create super obscure lore bits and just sprinkle them on items you guys pick up. You let you guys put together the world in your guys' head. I don't know. I think that would be neat.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
I like one of my favorite parts about Dark Souls is those item descriptions, because there's no real like story for you to absorb from gameplay. It's all in the items.
Yeah. I mean, there's dialogue tidbits from like Framped or Koth or something.
Yeah.
And like Domhnall has some cheeky things he can say about like the Great Hollow and stuff, but by and large, you need to pick stuff up and read it. Like you pick up a ring, you need to read about it, and it'll tell. It's like Ring of the Sun's Firstborn, and it tells you about, you know, Gwyn's firstborn son, and it's like, oh, cool, that's bitchin'.
Yeah. Nameless King.
And then you learn just more stuff about the world too. Maybe I should do that more. Just add lore descriptions to my. They do it in Baldur's Gate too. Every time you get like a magical weapon, then Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, like it has like 1 to 2, maybe sometimes 3 paragraphs of just like a backstory about the weapon.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it gives the world flavor and depth.
I think that might not translate super well into a D&D setting when everybody has all these different kinds of items.
Yeah.
But when you have like a special item, like this weapon like crits on a 17 to 20 instead of 19 to 20 or whatever. Have to have
Yeah.
some quality that's worth denoting it as like a special item.
Yeah, it would have to be heavily magical for sure. So we got all the media we want to run a campaign in, unless Daniel, you've changed your mind.
I apologize for misunderstanding the question initially. I now understand what the question was.
Now that you know how it's done, do you have any media you'd like to run a game in?
Uh,
Yes, no, maybe so.
You're gonna hate me, but but I like Avenger.
Marvel, baby.
We're already
Yeah.
running a Marvel game.
Huh?
We're already running a Marvel game.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Yeah. I guess that wasn't made off limits, right?
I
You
guess
could choose
not.
from an existing.
I guess I didn't specify that. He found a loophole in the system. Good on him.
All that time thinking.
All the time thinking, and he finds the loophole. Alrighty, then moving into the next topic. This one should be interesting. We'll just open this up to a roundtable discussion. Nobody in order and specific. Just if you got an idea, throw it out there. Should every player give DMing a shot? Do you believe in that adage? To like learn respect for the game and what the DM has to go through and like get that side of perspective.
I don't think so. I don't think they should. I encourage him. I think it would be really beneficial. But I do believe that if you're not willing to DM, you also can't really be making it sound like you would do a better job or like you could do better. It's like no, you can't. Like
Yeah.
like put your body where your mouth is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because DMing is as fun as it is. It's a lot of stress and a lot of work.
Yeah.
I think it could be an important experience for players to understand like how much effort goes into DMing, but I definitely don't think everybody is suited for DMing.
Yeah, I have a respectful fear and admiration for it, but I don't know that I
Dear Jesus,
I don't know that
DM.
I don't know that my anxiety and my sometimes anal retentiveness would allow for a flexible game if I were to DM. So sometimes you just gotta know yourself too. Like you know you're gonna throw a fit when things don't go your way. Maybe DMing is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool for everybody to at least try it, just to have it on your resume per se. But some people are not fit for it. Some people just don't have either the creative side for it or just would probably be horrible DMs.
Mm-hmm.
I would be a horrible DM. Just putting that out there right now. But
I'm just putting it out there. I will cry.
Oh no!
It would be. Hey, I will cry. It would be fun though to try because you do see how much is being put into it. But I personally think I would be horrible at it.
I mean, if anything, you're the most free person at that table. You don't want to experience that freedom? Just once?
No.
Nah, we good.
I agree. Not everybody is suited for it. But
do
I think? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's like a double edge to everything. Kind of like the more power you have, the more weight as well. Because when you're a DM, you have the power to do whatever you want. But when you're a player, you can do whatever you want with the world. But you can still do whatever you want with your character. And as bad as you could do it, worst case scenario, your team players are just gonna be like, oh, this guy's just being annoying. As a DM, you have all the power, but everything you do affects everybody in the campaign. So it's like there's a lot of pressure that comes from that. It's like, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? Are people gonna be okay with this? Are people not gonna be okay with this? Could I do it better for them? So it's definitely more stressful.
Well, yeah, it's more stressful than being a player. That's a given because you're providing the game essentially. But like Daniel said, I encourage it just because it can be fun. You don't know until you try it. Like, I never thought I would be a good DM until I was like, well, this is how I'm gonna play because nobody else will do it. So, I guess I'll do it.
Something that helps a lot is before I DM'd, I would be like, well, why doesn't the DM just let me do this? And now I'm like, okay, if the DM isn't just letting me do this, there's probably like at least 3 different reasons at the very minimum of why that's not happening. So it's like, it kind of gives you that acceptance of like, okay, there's a reason for things.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of pitfalls for new DMs as well. I remember when I first tried to DM, I would find myself in situations where I would like go back and forth, be like, well, your character like does like roll to see if he sees this thing happening, and it's like, well, then roll to see if he notices this other thing, and it's like leading the other players on by the nose, and it was just real bad.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you learn as you DM. Like, in the beginning, you're always gonna fall into, like you said, pitfalls of just tropes of either not giving them anything or leading them by the nose. I don't think it's until way later that you develop that like balance, that like nuance to just sprinkle stuff amidst them. So let's go down the board. Daniel, are you yay or nay?
Or nay for what?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, well, say something. Yay or nay on everybody should DM.
Oh, on the
thing we're still talking about.
nay. Sorry, I thought we were changing the subject. No, nay.
You know?
Nope. I don't think everyone should.
I'm gonna lean yay. Eric?
To experience, yes, but to like make it your only like if like I don't suggest people try to become forever DMs because I feel like they're limiting themselves with their own enjoyment. But there are people who, like Scotty, like really love DMing, so that's all they do. But I don't think everybody is suited for it.
Jaime?
Yes and no.
Same as Eric?
Yeah. Like I said, it would be cool for people to try it. You know, just so you can say, yeah, you know, I played as a DM once. Didn't do very good, but I played as a DM. And no, because not fit for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can find out that you're not fit for it by DMing, right?
I already know, Eric.
Yeah, I know now.
But don't you want it cemented for sure? 100%?
It would break me.
We're kind players.
I know.
We're old and we got our murder hoboing out long ago.
Oh man, yeah.
Sometimes.
Now we're moving on to the next topic. Daniel, are you ready?
Go ahead.
Let's go down the board. Daniel, how do you deal with a creative block? When you just get in that funk where you just can't like think of anything creative for your character to do or any like creative growth for them to have, or maybe ideas for your character mechanically. You just feel like you got a block. How do you get rid of it?
I usually just keep going. Like if I can't think of anything further, I'm like, fuck it, pick a direction and just go that way, and I'll just be like, oh, I'm gonna walk and just don't have any expectation of being able to think of anything. Just do whatever, and sometimes, usually, that's what helps the most to just be like, oh shit, here's an idea. Both as a player and as a DM. So as a DM, sometimes I'll be trying to plan a session, And there's been times when I just could not plan a session. So I'm like, okay, we're just gonna play, guys. We're just gonna play and we're gonna see where it goes. And then as it evolves, there's that a whole session went by and we did shit. And as a player, I was saying to you earlier, that's happened with my superhero campaign, where I didn't know how to expand upon this my character. And then I was like, you know what, let's just keep playing and see what happens. And when you take away that pressure from your mind, you suddenly start seeing more things. So so that's kind of what I usually do. The shitty part is when I forget to do that.
Okay, so you just truck ahead regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, just hope to find it along the way. Chanel, how do you get out of that creative block?
It actually happens to me a lot, but I usually, well, for one, if I can, I'll drive and listen to music. That usually clears that up right away. Listen to music, read something fun, and draw. I just doodle a lot until something hits me.
Awesome, yeah.
I also read notes because I like to take notes. So like just like backtrack a little, and sometimes like you'll forget where you wanted to go and like, oh yeah, I wanted to do that, and then there comes the idea again. But those are my go-tos.
Movies and TV helps a lot too.
Yeah, why didn't you say that?
I just thought about it when Chanel said, listen.
Yeah.
And I'll start hitting Chanel first and then you second from now on. We'll just go alphabetically so that way you get an idea for what's coming up. Eric, how do you get out of those creative blocks?
I'm in a similar boat to Chanel. I'll go on a walk and I'll try to listen to music. But it usually has to be like either music that I'm really familiar with, that I already have like, like some sort of like scenario in my brain where I'm like playing out some deal, or it has to be like completely new, something I haven't heard of before, and then it'll jog my brain to think about something new as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat. I'm music oriented. I just throw on a playlist and similar to Eric, I just go on a walk and just jam out and hope that a song will jog my creativity, and 90% of the time it does. It'll get me thinking of at least one thing, and then you plant that little seed and it sprouts out. Jaime, how do you get out of a creative block?
Same with you guys. Music. Music, it takes up like a good 85% of my day. My music's always playing on my phone. I either have like coming out through like computers at work, or like my headphones are always on, but my Spotify's always playing. Just I either have it set to like I'll be listening to like a certain album from like beginning to end, or I'll just mix up and I'll like look at a playlist of all my favorite songs, like songs that I've liked, or I'll just think of an artist and be like, today I really feel like listening to the Smiths, and then I'll just do a station of that music, and then before I know it, I'm just got ideas coming up in my head, and creative side, and starts going wild.
Yeah, does music hit the same side of your brain as the creative side of your brain? Is that where it hits?
Probably.
Is that the left or the right? Which one's the more mathematical sciencey side?
Left side is more mathematical because it affects the right side of your body.
Yes.
And then your right side brain is the creative one. I know that saying it affects the left side of your body and right side of your body doesn't actually mean anything, but that's how I remember it. Me and my psychology degree.
Hey, however you can remember it. I mean, that's what matters. Retention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all school is just memorizing things, and however you can memorize it and put it away as long as you get it, who cares?
Right.
Like righty tighty, lefty loosey. Still have to say that to myself every once in a while.
And then it flips when things are upside down.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
You have to lay down and like put your head under it to get lined up and go, oh, okay.
Yeah, right. You have to put your brain in the right position to make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're a lot of us music, and then Daniel, TV and movies, and Chanel, amalgam, drawing, music, going for a drive.
Yeah.
Good answers all around. Let's move into the next topic, our regular one. Am I the asshole?
Ooh.
So
I
I'm
love it.
gonna put the link in the Discord for everybody and anybody watching the video, but everybody listening, I will read it aloud. Let me make sure that this is one that we haven't read before. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to read aloud for the class. You guys can follow the link and go along. So am I the asshole for not allowing content that's in the book I don't have? A friend of mine is having a hissy fit. He wants to use some spells from the Strixhaven's book. I, from the beginning, said even though there's a possibility to access 5e content on various tools for free on the internet, I will only use those I've bought in real life. Now he's arguing that I'm hiding fun behind a paywall. This argument started when he showed me his character sheet for the next session, and I've seen silvery barbs and kinetic jaunt. Am I the asshole? Edit. It's not really about banning silvery barbs. It's more about not using the content I don't have legal access to. Roundtable discussion. Is this guy the asshole for not allowing content that's in a book he doesn't have?
No.
No.
If you like literally don't have access to it, how can you be expected to run a game with that information?
Yeah.
Also, it seems like he made it clear from the beginning that he wasn't going to do that. So it's like going into the game, they should have already been aware what was expected.
Yeah, I feel the same way, especially if it's the DM saying it. Like, what are you laughing at, Amy?
One of the comments, it's like watching Avengers and getting pissed that Superman doesn't show up. Yeah, dude. I
hope
think that person is just childish.
100%.
Like, took it too out of context.
He's just a fucking. I bet you he's a rules lawyer too. That just wants to have things his way.
Yeah.
Either that, or he wants to just metagame and min-max his character with those spells that he saw that he thinks are busted.
No metagaming.
Yeah, it's the title. We don't like it around here.
Yeah.
The worst part is I feel like the sneakiness of it, where he saw it on his sheet, and that's on the next session, and that's when it bugged him. Like, he told you guys from the beginning, and then you just still put it on the sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, if your DM, if it's obvious that your DM doesn't have access to something, but you do, like, maybe provide that access to your DM.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe let them borrow the book. Yeah, let the one who's running the game borrow the book that you want to use content from, maybe. I agree. Not the asshole. He's completely reasonable. He set hit the ground rules, and that one character didn't follow it. Sorry, you can't play at this table if you can't follow rules. Follow basic ground rules, not like every single rule, because I'm pretty lenient, but the basic ground rules I set up.
Yeah.
Like, you can't come in here with a fucking 50-point buy when I had my people 46 drop lowest.
This he mentioned silvery barbs at the very end, and that reminds me of another post that I saw about a DM using silvery barbs on almost any enemy that could cast spells, and his players were like getting upset about it. But somebody commented that seems like the type of thing where the DM is asking for his players to ask for it to be banned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it that good? I'm not that familiar with the spell silvery barbs.
What does it do?
It gives you advantage on a save or something, but like a player versus enemies, your enemies can, like, you can have as many enemies during a day as you want, but then your players will only have that spell like once or twice for however many spell slots they have.
Yeah.
So if your character is like fighting multiple enemies every time you play, like multiple encounters, you may only have silvery barbs for 1 or 2 of those encounters, whereas your enemies, at least in this guy's scenario, has them always. So all of the enemies were like, nope, I have resistance or whatever. So like you have to roll with a disadvantage or something, and it's like you're making your players play at a disadvantage, just like overall.
Yeah, just out of sheer spite.
Yeah.
I know we're all in agreement, but let's go down the board. Daniel, asshole or no?
No.
You know?
Nope.
I'm a no. Eric?
No.
Jaime?
No.
Hey, buddy, you are not the asshole.
Yeah.
You
Sorry.
are a saint, kind sir.
Get a new table.
I am the table.
I just picture him laying flat with books on top of him and dying.
It's a wrestling joke whenever whenever somebody's gonna get suplexed through a table and it doesn't break, they just play James Hetfield screaming, "I am the table,"
I am the table.
and it happens often.
Yeah.
Because
Botchamania.
in Japan they use like school tables. They're thick as fuck. They got like steel frames.
Children's desk.
Basically, you're getting pile driven to a children's desk. The frame bends a little and it cracks, and then you just land on your head on it. Let's move into the next topic. I feel like this one might be unanimous as the last one was, but how do we all feel about sandbox versus a railroad campaign? Or something that was linear, if you want to use that phrase. If you're more familiar with it, sandbox versus linear.
Sure.
I enjoy a sandbox more, but I feel like with a linear campaign, you can get more visceral story elements out of it because you have like all these planned experiences and whatnot.
Yeah, you can kind of curate your experiences.
Yeah.
You can very carefully like balance things out too. In a railroad, you know exactly what their XP is going to look like.
Right? Yeah.
What about everybody else? Sandbox, railroad?
Are railroads considered like pre-made games?
Can be. A railroaded game is where you want to like, it's like, I want to go see what's over there, and the DM just like moves what his content is over there, and you're just railroaded into his content no matter where you go.
I guess I wouldn't mind a railroad if I didn't notice it. If I
Yeah.
didn't notice that was happening. I don't think I would mind, but sandbox for me, preferably. Or at
There
least fusion of options.
I think that, yeah.
There were moments in Steven's Giant Slayer campaign where, and even in some of the campaigns that you and I have done, Scotty, where like I've wanted to do something like fucking weird, and the DM will be like, "Yeah, no, sorry," and it's like, well, man, I can't live out my character fancy in a railroad campaign because there are some things that you just can't do.
Yeah.
That's always rough and disheartening.
Yeah.
That's why it's always good. It's a good DM tool for any DMs out there. The yes and no but. So even if your players fail, like, no, you can't do this, but you can do this. And it's like, or do you succeed? Yes, and also. And give them something, a little something, something.
Yeah, some actionable thing that they can do stuff with instead of just being like, nope, you can't.
Yep, nope, try again.
Yeah, it's like my character wants to do a double backflip and then slash a guy in the air. It's like, all right, roll like 4 acrobatics checks.
Yeah. Yeah, roll 4 acrobatics and an attack roll with a -2 because you're a little dizzy after it.
Yeah.
But you can do it. The dice are ever in your favor.
Yeah.
Jaime, do you prefer a sandbox campaign where you can kind of go wherever, do wherever? or do you like a carefully curated, railroaded campaign?
I like a little mixture of both. I like having the free reign to do certain things, but I also like being kept checked in line. Like I don't want to go overboard with certain like things, and then the DM be going, nah, maybe not. Or I just be like read the guidelines and go, this is yes, this is no, okay, and I go okay, and then I go with it.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for kind of wanting to be led by the nose, but I'd say for the most part, I'm a sandbox kind of guy. I'd rather just create the world and places and put you in it and describe what's around you and just let you go ham. I created the world. I have a general idea of why things are the way they are, so go for it. Ask questions, get lost in the world. You'll find something to do.
Yeah.
There's always something to do.
It can be important to have characters, or I guess NPCs, that help guide players along and try to adhere to some amount of what the DM wants to make sure happens, but
Whoa, that
being like hard lined into a story can, I feel like it can suck pretty bad.
Yeah. I definitely feel the sandbox is 10 times harder than the railroading campaign is. Because again, you're not necessarily accounting for everything they can do, you're just giving them tons of options of things to do. I kind of think as sandboxing is creating multiple. Think of it as that little center place in the railroad track where it's got all the different tracks and it's got that one spinny circle in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sandbox campaign to me, and it's like, go into the forest and try and find the kobold infestation down this track. Down this track, it's, find the evil cult that's in the city. On this track, find the murderer that killed these, poor paupers in the slums district, and presenting the multiple options to go down. I think that's a good sandbox. It doesn't have to necessarily be a whole world with no direction. You can just throw down multiple directions and let them pick. Because then they're going to be invested in what they choose. Let's move into something that can be controversial, depending on if you do it or not. Wink, wink. Fudging dice rules and cheating. Open discussion.
In that case, what's the point?
What'd you say, Daniel?
I said, in that case, what's the point? Because if you're cheating your dice rolls, then there's no really point in having a dice rolling campaign. And you can always just be like, hey, can we just have a game where we just pretend to have these characters do shit and we just talk about doing shit and we just do it, see where it goes. But that's not what the game is. So there's no point.
Yeah.
And also, if you're fudging your dice rolls, everybody else in the game probably isn't, or most people. So it's probably just not fair.
Yeah. I mean, failure it has to be an option.
Yeah.
Because,
Exactly.
I mean, if you're just playing in a game that there's no jagged edges, it's just all soft and fluffy. Because you're just saying, oh, I got haven't rolled a below an 18 this entire session. What a coincidence. Like, it's kind of why I'm like in favor of like in-person sessions and everybody rolling their dice on the table, because then there's no question. Even the DM, like, just roll out in the open, because then it's down to the dice, people.
Yeah.
You all have modifiers and penalties and stuff, but it's the dice that are gonna decide.
I also think that like letting yourself fail, just letting the dice decide things for you is it leads to a lot of fun role play. Like if you fail epically, it can be some of the funnest times when you're playing, just role play wise and just having fun. Sometimes you fail so comedically.
If we would have been in person, playing in person when Daniel got that wild search like 2 or 3 sessions ago, I would have laughed so
It
fucking
was
hard.
so cool.
Because I was like, come on, baby, please be a 1. Please be a 1. It's been like this for a while. And then stayed quiet. Daniel starts laughing, and Daniel goes, you fucking did it. And then it turned out to be a 1.
It was a roller coaster ride. I was just
It
staring
was
at it.
amazing.
Yeah, that's something I wish I could have seen in person. Eric, cheating and fudging.
I definitely have done it before. Yeah. But usually it's a case where like I've had like a long losing streak where I'm just like, fuck. And I'll roll my dice like a second time and take that second result regardless. So even if the second result is trash, I'm like, well, fuck, I do shittily. Like, that's it. But, yeah, the times when I do it are very few and far between.
I mean, as a dungeon master, I've done it a few times. There have been nights when I've been rolling just 20s.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll keep a good chunk of them. Like when I crit like Steven and Kaylee that one session, like. But if I'm just dropping bombs, sometimes I'm like, come on. It's so I've fudged as a DM on a few times.
Well, I feel like it's a tool for the DM, right? It's not necessarily cheating.
Yeah.
Of course, but I have to admit to have doing it.
I had to do the double take and look behind me just in case, you know?
Yeah, make sure I'm not behind you with a knife.
And I almost jumped out my fucking second story window right now. Whoa!
Learned recently that like when you roll low, you can still like use that in a realistic manner. Like, oh, like you roll low. It's like, yeah, well, my character did stay up all night last night, fucking singing in a tavern or something. So I could role play as the exhaustion got the best of my character and couldn't pull off what they were trying to pull off or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's like Chanel said, it leads for character development and like plot progression, even if you do fail.
I do feel bad when I'm like rolling shit and I can't get anything. That's why I just say like, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do anything.
Roll for initiative, Chanel. What'd you get? 2?
Sorry.
What's your modifier? 1?
And I get 3s a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, like sorry guys. I'll change my dice. But I also am the type of person that like if I go into the store and don't buy anything, I'm like, what if I accidentally shoplifted? So if
Yeah.
I'm rolling really well, I'm like, let me switch up my dice.
Yeah, what if they think I'm cheating?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Adding into the cheating and fudging, Chanel, would you make a suboptimal decision based on role playing?
What do you mean?
Like if you were playing a rogue and I'm like, looks clear when you find traps and you probably know there's something there, you rolled low, but you make your character walk down the hallway anyway. That would be a suboptimal decision based on role playing.
Yeah, I always do. I'm always like, well, Mabel doesn't see shit. Sorry. And I just step in because that's the whole point of the game. You rolled, your dice said you didn't see shit. You didn't see shit.
That sounds like a long way of asking, do you metagame? Because if you out of game know that there's something coming by you or expect something to be there, but in game you know that there wouldn't, you just wouldn't, so you just keep going.
Well, no, it's asking if you would do something not exactly what should be done, but what your character would do.
Yeah, for roleplay's sake, I tend to just because in a non-assholey way. I hope it doesn't annoy people, but I'm very much like, that's what my character would do.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the best result. Because that's fun to me. Like, get in the head of your character and try to do things the way they would do it, even if it's not necessarily, the best thing. Maybe you set up a trap or something, but that's why you have teams. They'll pick up your slack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Teamwork
what the
makes the dream work.
exactly. That's what the party's there for.
Yeah. I think not being able to contribute and like meaningfully has also led me to fudging a roll once or twice.
Mm.
Or it's just like why is my character even here if I can't do anything? And it's a lot of feels bad.
Yeah, it sucks when you can't, when the dice won't let you be of any help.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, well, shit, I guess I'll just stand and hold the torch.
Yeah, right.
Daniel, would you make a suboptimal character decision based on roleplay?
No, I just go based on what my character knows.
So you would.
So yeah, so
Okay. Eric, would you make a suboptimal decision based on role playing?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Like the spells that I have for Nivander from the Gods campaign, like they fit her character perfectly. She was an archivist and she spent her time studying things and knowing things, but she couldn't do anything in the fight. She could hold a dagger. But that was it. So I guess from one standpoint that's a suboptimal like character build. But it felt cool.
Which is what matters in the end.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't really matter if you make a suboptimal decision. I mean, if you have a good DM, it's not gonna kill you. They'll accommodate characters with a few flaws. Jaime, would you make a suboptimal decision based on role playing?
No.
You're always gonna
If
make
it
the
happens,
optimal choice?
yeah. I mean, probably not always, but
yeah.
I feel like of all of our topics, this is the one that brushes so closely to metagaming.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Because like metagaming isn't just like telling what other players should do with their character, but it's also like, well, like I know like the monster entry from the monster manual, and it knows that like trolls are like regenerative. So if I use fire, it'll like prevent them from regenerating and whatnot. But like if your character doesn't know that, then you're metagaming.
Dude, no metagaming.
Yeah.
And I guess Daniel was right.
What?
He was right
And the
for
podcast
once.
here. And the podcast here.
Yeah.
Daniel's right. We can all go home.
Sign it, ship it.
It never happened.
We wake up tomorrow and we're out of the matrix.
Yeah.
What?
We wake up in those fucking pods.
Covered in gel and tubes.
Wah!
Pull the little thing out of our back of our heads and we go limp and get picked up by a claw machine.
Yeah.
Hello, guys.
Oh man, that was good.
I think I'm all about the suboptimal decisions if it fits roleplay. Because, I mean, roleplay should take precedence over everything, I think. Your character, not your paper. So I feel like in the rogue trap scenario, like, if my rogue doesn't find anything, looks clear to me, BB, I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to the detriment of the party, maybe, but it's literally my character. My character doesn't know I rolled bad.
Right.
They don't know they looked poorly. They looked as hard as they could, and they just came up short. The trap was too well hidden.
They had something in their eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anything. They were distracted. The light played shadows on the ground. Something. Moving away from a metagaming topic, how do we feel about encumbrance? How much you're carrying, where you're carrying it. How you transporting all that gold, man?
I'm gonna be honest.
Even bag of holdings have their limits.
I'm gonna be honest. I try to keep track of that, but I may not be the best at it. I try. It's just sometimes so much is going on. We're looting so much, so much loot that it's hard to keep track of. But I don't mind it, like having weight limits.
I'm all for it. Money is a hard one, but you guys all have bag of holdings like type 4s.
I got 2 of them.
So I'm not too concerned with your coinage. Like, to me in my campaign, my bag of holdings function like they have the weight limit, but they don't go by the cubic feet footage as well. It's just you can stuff a bunch of suits of armor in there as long as their weight capacity doesn't exceed whatever it says its weight capacity is.
Yeah, like multiple sets of plate mail.
Yeah, like it would take up so much room putting multiple suits, but you can do it in a bag of holding because it's the pocket dimension.
Yeah.
But as for like having a backpack with like your rations in it and like your torches and like your everyday stuff you're gonna be grabbing all the time, I think knowing where that is on your person and how much you got and how much it weighs, I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think having to keep. Oop, go ahead, Jaime.
Majority of us have our monies in the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have all my money in the bank. I think in my actual character in person, I have like maybe 5,000, maybe, and that's
5,000 pieces of money.
No, like 5,000 random coins, and like it's platinum and gold and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have that much.
What were you gonna say, Eric?
I think encumbrance rules for things that have like inconsequential weight. I guess inconsequential weight is a matter of perspective as well, but for like a ranged character and arrows, like running out of arrows can be like an important story element. But then if all your character has is a bow and you run out of arrows, like it's gonna suck in combat. You're just gonna have to like make do. And I feel like that just feels bad. And I don't want my players to feel bad. And I don't want to feel bad.
Right.
But then things like equipment slots, like you can't have like 9 head items, like you can't have all your Ioun stones going up all at once, or you can't have like every ring or every finger has a ring on it and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that the balance of having just like one slotted item for each like actual like body slot is sensible.
Yeah, let's go from head to toe. You got boots. It's like Morrowind. It's essentially Morrowind. You can wear magical boots, you can wear magical pants, you can wear fucking magical armor. You can wear
have a magical robe over your armor.
Magical robe over your armor. Magical gauntlets in place of your normal gauntlets. An Ioun stone floating above your head. A ring on your right hand, a ring on your left hand. A necklace.
An amulet. Yeah.
Fucking a belt.
A circlet.
A belt, a circlet. Like
some armor lets you have bracers in addition to gloves.
Yeah, and you can just be like a shiny Morrowind character and just walk around in your glowing gear.
Yeah.
So I think it's super reasonable. Like you get more than enough to customize your character with. At least in 3.5. How would you guys feel if you played in a Gygax game? Because he was known for giving out like you got like 50,000 pieces of copper. And it's like getting that out of the dungeon was an ordeal because he tracked weight, how you lifting it, how you carrying it.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, you got some money, how you getting it out?
It feels a lot like story elements too. Like if that could be a plot point where your characters have to figure out how to retrieve all the treasure from the dragon's hoard.
Mm.
Yeah, do you give up some of that money hiring muscle to come and lug it out?
Right.
Let's go on to how we feel about, or no, let's go into advice you'd give a first-time player. We'll start with Chanel. What's one piece of advice you'd give a first-time player?
Hmm.
That could be a piece of advice you wish you would have gotten.
Jeez. Uh, don't watch Critical Role first.
Ooh.
Set some real high expectations.
Sorry for those Critical Role lovers, but as soon as we started playing, like the first session, or I started playing, I immediately was like, let me find stuff on YouTube, and I found Critical Role, and then I was like, why am I not role playing better? They seem to be doing it just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, not knowing, you're not realizing the fact that they're professional fucking actors.
Yeah. Like I should be, looking up ways to change my voice and, not stutter as much and shit. And I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. You're just playing with friends.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Role playing is definitely a skill that requires a lot of polish. Like
yeah.
it's not something that people are just like automatically good at.
Mm-hmm. And also, you don't have to make voices to roleplay. You could just talk in your normal voice and
Explain what your character sounds like. Describe it.
Yeah.
People have seen movies. People have seen TV. They can understand. You say my character sounds like George Clooney, you can post a clip and they can go, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think of it now more like a book. Because it's basically you and your friends writing a book together. Or like a script.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Mabel says this or Mabel goes into this place. But yeah, don't watch Critical Role first. Or if you do, just don't be so hard on yourself or your friends if they don't voice act.
Very good answer. Daniel, any tips you'd give a first-time player?
I would say keep in mind that whatever idea you have of who your character is when you create them, you're wrong. Because there's the idea that you have of your character when you first create your character, and then once you go play your character, you realize that it doesn't actually play out quite like you expected it. And if you think that your character is gonna be exactly what you imagine, it's gonna be a bummer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna end bad. Good solid advice from Daniel. Eric, any tips?
I got two. They're a little bit contradictory, but first tip is if your character can know spells, know what your spells do. Like if you have to pull up on your phone every single time, like I mean, I still do this absolutely, but you should be able to get accustomed with your spells if you are a spellcaster, and relying on like the DM or your fellow characters or fellow players to explain what these things do for you. It's like you're drawing down the game itself by making other people do the work for you.
Mm.
But then on the flip side, I don't think new players should expect to know everything about the game at first. Like there's some like wonderfully complex things to learn, but it'll come to you in time. Like you don't have to worry about being an expert right away. Learn how to play the game like you would learn how to do anything else. Slowly, baby steps.
Baby steps.
Yeah, ideally the whole table's there to help you, but like Eric said, do your best to, if you are a caster, spend a little time just reading your spells in your off time. Just if you got a break at work or you're sitting on the toilet, just pull up some spells you might cast and just read them. You don't need to know how to play the game to. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of do. Huh. It's a little contradictory, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only way to learn is by doing it, and the only way to get better at it is to do it.
Yeah.
But like Eric said, be expecting to just know like every single no flanking, attacks of opportunity, reach, like
Right.
don't stress if you don't know all that shit off the top of your head, or just focus on the stuff you should know. Like D20s for everything. Everything else is for damage.
If you have a good DM, you won't have to do all this work on your own either.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll have him or her helping you. Them.
Yeah.
Jaime, you got any tips for a first time player?
Yeah. Don't get too attached to your first player. You mean your first player, your first character?
Because they'll die.
Yeah, I mean, they could, if not played correctly, or bad rolls, which it's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah,
But,
odds are it's.
Yeah, if you get too attached to it right away, you're gonna create a bad memory for yourself, which will make you hate the game, which is not about that.
Yeah.
You learn to love the game, especially when you lose a character. Like, man, all right, I'll make a better one, and then just keep that same mentality, keep going with it. Because the more and more people play, if people hear this down the road or not, and if you're a first time player, you'll make a character that's pretty dumb, but it'll be fun to play. They'll die, and then you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that, but it was cool. Now you have that memory, so don't get too attached to it.
All those failures are learning experiences.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they're stepping stones.
Just stepping stones to greatness. My tip to a first time player would be oh my gosh, so many good tips. Get wash your hair. Wash behind your ears. No, it would be fuck, you distracted me, Jaime.
I'm sorry.
First time tips for a player would be, yeah, this is it. Learn to get comfortable talking in place of another character as another character. Like, not doing voices, I'm just saying talking as the character. Or saying, my character does this. Get comfortable, like, talking in front of your friends. Because even though it's not like a presentation, there are going to be times when everybody's eyes on you. Because it's like, it's your turn, bud. Everybody's eyes turn to you. And it's like, yeah, they're your friends, and it can be uncomfortable. So just get comfortable speaking in front of others, I think would be my biggest one. Helps you open up to role play.
And if I could add, don't be scared to ask questions. I was so scared when I first started playing that I would sound stupid. Just ask.
Yeah, I would rather somebody ask a question to be sure than to just be unsure and not understand how the game works.
Can we take a quick break? I really have to go to the bathroom.
No, you can. I'll
Okay.
It's an hour and a half in perfectly.
Okay, cool. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll BRB. I'm gonna take a quick vape break.
I will be right back too.
I will remain.
You're telling me I'm the only one that's in the bathroom right now? I'm just kidding.
Jaime, you fuck. We'll come back in right now. And it'll be as if nothing ever happened through the
What?
power of movie magic. So we talked about advice for first-time players. Let's move on, trucking right along. Open discussion. How long is too long to role play?
Oh.
How long before it gets too long in the tooth and you go, let's get this fucking shit on the road and roll some dice already? Sick of this. We've been shopping for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Hmm.
shopping is definitely one of those things where you can, like, and I know that you've tried to do this a number of times, Scotty, where you just set aside time, be like, all right, all players, pick out what you want to buy it, and let's move on.
Yeah.
And then there are times where, like, there's like character elements where, like, we go to Kiara's shop and then, like, Kiara has like something fun and interesting to say, but other times it's like, well, I have a bunch of junk that I want to sell to a general store. I walk in, I ask the guy's name, tell me about your life, and it's like, fuck off, sell
Yeah.
your shit and leave.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Why are
Yeah.
you putting Daniel in the spot like that?
Sometimes it's like a MMO. Like sometimes people just have trader above their heads. Sometimes they don't have a character.
Yeah, right.
Their character is
Yeah.
they sell goods.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Daniel. It's just things that
Oh.
should be like
I'm
menial
just an
or
asshole for
like
saying Daniel's name.
like that like really don't have a lot of role play value in them. They really should be made to be quick.
Hold on, I'm calling my therapist.
He's got something else to bring up.
I think it's also like try and read the room a little. Like if everyone's waiting and it seems like they're ready to move on, maybe wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly. I should really like on my phone. I'm gonna do this next time we play Marvel, I think, or DnD because I think that'll come sooner than D&D. I don't know, but I think I might set a timer next time you guys split up and be like, all right, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, and I'll alternate as long as you guys are gone. So everybody gets the same amount of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think because I like to eyeball it. I like to think I give everybody a fair shake. But yeah, definitely read the room. Like you'll know if it goes on too long. Like you'll feel like the stares of the room if you're playing in person. Or you'll if you're playing online and you have the webcam just so people like doing other things. Like that's when you should mosey on. If you had to put a time limit on it, how long would you guys say?
Jeez.
Honestly, I think it entirely depends on the mood of the moment. Like sometimes like sometimes I'll go full session. Sometimes I've gone 2 sessions without any action. I've been loving it. And sometimes I go 10 minutes without action. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we just move it along? So I don't
Yeah.
think, honestly, don't think I can put a time on it, a timestamp on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I enjoy the roleplay because I personally think you can kind of build the story around it. Like things could happen, and you're like, oh, like I didn't think that was gonna happen. So then you could just start bringing stuff in that you didn't have planned, like DM wise, into the story. So I think that's cool. I enjoy the role playing it.
I always just try to think of it like a regular conversation with friends. Like you're sitting in a group of friends and you're only talking to one person for a very, very long time. Like, and you're seeing your friends just like Scotty said, staring, maybe, you know,
Yeah.
or ask if they want to do something, maybe like
Involve
take a
them?
break and come back to it later so everyone has a chance to do their stuff. Um,
Yeah, or
Yeah.
involve them. Be like,
yeah,
also, this is this character. Or these are these characters. And if they're role playing, you know what I mean?
yeah.
At least give them the opportunity to get involved. You were gonna say, Eric?
I think keeping it to, at least for scenarios where it's things like shopping and whatnot. If you can keep it to like less than 10 minutes, that's great. But then if like you role playing means other people don't get to role play, like if it's your character
That'd be
like talking with guards and trying to like finagle their way out of jail, it's like, I mean, the game's not about you. It's not solitaire. It's a group thing.
Group
Yeah.
affair.
You're not a group of. It's not a main character and their sidekicks. You're a group of main characters.
Right, yeah.
It's very much everybody is the protagonist. Which is what makes D&D so hard and beautiful, because everybody is the spotlight of their own story, but you just throw all the stories in the overarching story.
yeah.
I also agree with Jaime. Love role playing. If the whole session is role playing and it's even and fair between everybody, that's like one of my favorite sessions.
Yeah, because we've had sessions where we just role play, and I was like, I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dice come up like once or twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then in the end, it just entirely depends on the scenario. There's no hard and fast rule about how long's too long. Sometimes, like Eric said, 10 minutes and it gets to be dragging on, but if everybody gets 10 minutes, then I think it's fair. This next topic could be pretty fun. Let's go start with Chanel. What do you think the most toxic trait is in a DM or a player? Most toxic trait.
Jeez. I don't know if it's toxic, but just like never knowing what's going on. Or like, I don't know. Sometimes I do this too, where it's like I don't always. I try to look up stuff before my turn comes around. Doesn't always happen, but like, I don't know, being so clueless that it's disruptive.
Okay, no, that's a fair judgment. Daniel, what do you think the most toxic trait is as a DM or a player? Do you want me to go before you?
I think I'm very guilty of this, but I think yeah, and it kind of goes with what you're saying. I think that making the game mainly about your own character, so trying to make your character the protagonist, or even not that, but just focusing on, hey, this is what I want for my character, and not really try to make it a group experience.
Okay, so main character syndrome person.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another good one. Solid choice. Eric, what's your most toxic trait as a DM or a player?
I think role playing counter to what the rest of the team is doing. I know I've talked about this example in the past, but one of our previous campaigns, a friend of ours, Shane, was playing a character who was just going around killing like literally everybody he could find. And like, if that's your character concept, like, sure, but you have to be willing to face the consequences to that. And then like, having it affect the game itself. It's like what if this person was like relevant to the story and your guy just like, nope, kill them. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
All because you had the power to.
Yeah, right. So actions that inhibit role playing for other players.
That's
I think.
That was a really good answer. Jaime? Toxic trait? DM or a player?
People that take too long.
Their turns take too long?
Yeah, that's you taking the fun away from everybody. It's not cool, man. Not cool at all.
It kind of falls into Eric's tip of know how your spells and your shit works.
Correct.
Or like at least look it up.
Yeah.
Or know or look it up. Like stuff is happening, your turn is coming. Look it up.
Yeah.
Before your turn.
Very good. Very good answer. I think my most toxic trait is somebody that over sexualizes everything.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Everything and everybody.
I'm sorry.
I would have pulled you aside and told you stop doing it if you would have done it, but there are people that just, how hot are they? And it's just like, dude, come on. Like,
No need for that,
how
bro.
good looking are they? What's their charisma?
It's a Velociraptor.
It's what?
I was like, it's a Velociraptor. What do you mean, how hot is it?
Yeah. It's got a charisma of 4, bro. It's a reptile.
It was like a solid 4.
I remember DMing a game with our friend Zach was playing, and he had his character like sexually assault an NPC. I remember like DMing that, and I was just like, this is phenomenally uncomfortable. Like so much so that I literally don't want to play with you anymore. Like this is absolutely atrocious gameplay right now.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking disgusting to have to like deal with that on a player. And I remember later he told me that he was just like trying to make me like squirm in my seat, and I was like, "Fuck you! Don't do that.
What a dick!
That's shitty."
You had that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to experience that.
But yeah, that would be mine. That's like or it's even sexualizing of another player's character. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're a husband and wife, don't do that. Like,
Make it uncomfortable for everybody else.
yeah, man. Stop doing that.
I mean, we don't kink shame people here, but keep that to yourself.
DMs, you also don't have to describe how busty the barmaids are, how buzzum they are. You can just keep the descriptions generic.
Yeah. Like the she breasted boobly into the room.
Yeah. She jiggled massively with her H cups as she wobbled sexily into the room. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. Proceed to vomit all over other players.
And proceed to immediately leave chat and block that DM.
Seriously.
So that's definitely mine. Don't do that. Especially if you're the bard, don't do that.
Hey,
That's
don't do
such a
that.
like an overplayed trope. I hate it so much.
It's so overplayed. You mentioned that before, but it bears mentioning again because people are going to keep doing it.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like I fully accept that it's just like the trope now, but it doesn't mean it's good.
Nope. It sure doesn't. Let's go to the next topic. It's a roundtable discussion. Drugs and alcohol in the game. Or keeping it sober. What's the limit? What's the expectation there?
Are you talking from a roleplay standpoint or like the player's standpoint?
Sorry, IRL. In reality. Like the players at the table. Like, somebody wants to go smoke a spliff, or somebody wants to, have a beer or something while they're playing.
As long as it's not disruptive to everyone else.
I was gonna say, I might be a little bit I'm a bummer, but like, if it does one of those things, if it makes you disruptive, or if it makes it so that you're not in the game because you're just so fucking out of it that you're just not there. No, I don't support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it affects your ability to role play, then try not to do it.
Yeah, don't do that either.
Yeah. There have been times where I've like taken a step outside to smoke, like hit my vape pen or something. And maybe it's because like I had a really shitty day at work, so I want to feel more comfortable and relaxed, like while playing. And I just really want to like let go of whatever my day's worries were, and that'll help me. But if I get like blitzed out of my fucking mind and I'm just drooling in a corner, like just send me home. Like I clearly don't want to be there.
Yeah. I usually make it a rule, like, a lot of times when I play with Kaylee in person, we're drinking. But it's like, if I start seeing my notes aren't making any sense, that's when I'm like, okay, maybe I should just stop. Let's not keep drinking.
Yeah, keep it responsible. It's not a hard line. Like, a couple beers,
Yeah.
a hit or two off a vape pen, or maybe a hit or two off a spliff or a joint or something, or
Yeah. I think the most I've done is like, I have a pretty fucking big Steiner, and as it sounds like, I think I'm gonna get a drink, and I'll put like that. I mean, that's when I was working Saturdays too, so I was coming from work tired, dreading even showing up, and I would put like 2.5 shots, like massive shots of whatever alcohol I wanted to drink that day, and then I just mix it with like soda, and then like I felt comfortable. I mean, I was still good enough to play, but after a while, I was like, man, I'm getting tired.
yeah.
So I stopped.
Yeah, as long as it's not disruptive, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's down to individuals because everybody's different.
Yeah.
One beer to one person could be 2 beers to the next person. But
I think
found
there's something to
Go ahead.
I think there's something to say about like diminishing social anxiety as well. Because that's something I've definitely experienced where I might be like uptight about something and it'll come through in gameplay if I don't do anything about it. So having like a beer or smoking the joint or something, it'll make that a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a tool. It's not necessarily a good one, but I mean, yeah, it's not. I'm guilty of it. I don't think it makes me more creative, but it does put me in a state of mind where I can think creatively, where I'm mellow enough to where I'm like, all right, anxiety's cool. My brain's not buzzing about making me ready to pass out from anxiety, so I can actually create now. Do they have their uses? Probably only have time for 1 or 2 more topics. This next one's is near and dear to my heart. We'll go down the board. Starting with Chanel, we're gonna go with keeping it simple or expensive props and minis. We're talking like just sheet grid paper, pens, erasable mats, maybe.
Coming from a person that is easily distracted and also clumsy, keeping it simple is the best for me. I don't have to worry about knocking over minis, and also being completely distracted by things on a table. And I feel like it's just faster. I can, like, if it's just like basic blocks and like a sheet of paper, I can imagine the buildings myself.
Yeah, it lets you imprint your own perceptions of the game onto
Yeah,
the paper.
exactly.
Like if I say it's a dusty old tomb and I draw just a little rectangle, 2 square by 10 square hallway, you guys are like, okay, I can picture uneven flagstone and like crypts on the wall, like just cobwebs and shit. Like I don't have to necessarily say it, um, or portray it with a super specific piece of scenery that I bought. That was fucking $200.
Yeah. And I also feel like a lot of times, especially if you're playing with in person, I mean, unless you have like a massive table, there's usually not that much room at a table for like excessive amounts of minis and like foam buildings and stuff.
That's true. We play with a 22 by 25, I think it was, 21 or 22 by 25 square mat on the table, and there's barely enough room for people to put their stuff on the table on with that there. So, like Chanel said, any more and it would just be cumbersome and a distraction. So I'm in Chanel's camp with her. Keep it simple, stupid. Um, Daniel, how do you feel?
That one's kind of complicated because I mean you could say simple, but I mean even when we say simple, Chanel has several dice sets, and there's nothing simple about it. So sometimes you can spend a lot of money on one thing, or sometimes you can spend a lot of money on a lot of simple things. So are we going like cheap or expensive, or just kind of like, because sometimes you could have like a TV for a grid instead of just a imagination and everything. But I think you could have a TV, and if it's simply like manageable, it can make the experience more simple than having a grid that keeps trying to close on its own all the time and you keep putting things on the corners and stuff. So are we going like cheaper or expensive, or just actually simpler than?
No, we're going with simple. Think like papers and pens and markers and like tokens made out of like fucking Monopoly pieces.
I don't have like a preference. The only thing is that I've noticed is that sometimes when you go with a little more complex stuff, sometimes those things are only useful for that specific purpose. When you keep it simple, you could use basic things more broadly in other sessions and campaigns. So simple would be probably more ideal to start off, but you could definitely do more complex if you want. Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
simple, I guess, is my simple answer. Mm.
Okay. Eric, keeping it
Um,
simple, or let's get all those super specific minis and objects and really visualize this thing.
if you can, like, well, I guess I should say first, I prefer simple, but you can like really get across the idea with simple like tokens and stuff. Like you can rip up a piece of paper and just like write a name on the paper and be like, "Oh, this is my guy. This is where he is."
Yep.
Because a lot of the game happens in the theater of the mind, and using a battle mat like helps certainly makes the mechanics a little bit easier to understand. But like if buying all those like super fancy things is for you, then if you have those deep pockets, um, it feels bad when they don't get used. And I think that's worth recognizing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean they're fucking cool. It's just when I see somebody and it's like, look at this cool like prison I made, and it's like, dude, how often are they gonna be in that prison? That's like my first thing. Like make stuff that you can use multiple times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like make generic like terrain for like a battlefield or a forest. Stuff that you can just mix and match and have it be like completely separate entities just by moving shit around on it. As opposed to like hyper specific things, I think is what pisses me off most about when I see all these beautifully crafted things that'll get used once. Jaime, how do you feel about keeping it simple versus expensive minis and terrains?
I could do with the minis. The terrains I could give 2 dimes for. Like, it's cool, but it's not necessary. Like, I've seen videos of people doing like their sessions, and yeah, don't get me wrong, it looks fucking awesome having that whole area map played out and everything. But realistically, when is the other time you're gonna use it? So I'm like, it's a waste of money. The minis, you can use them for everything. So
Yeah,
I'll stick with the minis and the piece of paper and the map and markers. Hand drawn maps for the win.
yeah, exactly.
Don't tell me that guy's gotta be painting that same terrain. I was like, oh, well now it's snowing in this area. Okay, I'm gonna paint it throughout the week again. I was like, dude, what a waste of it.
Yeah, you put all that effort into what?
For what?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I guess to each their own, right? But
Yeah.
for this one, I'd go simple.
Well, it's like Eric said, if you have deep pockets, I mean, there's no reason not to go for it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like those people with their TV tables with the intricate moving backgrounds that their characters can go on. I mean, it's cool. You don't need it. It's 100% unnecessary.
I feel like doing that would take away from the point of it's an imagination game.
Right?
At that point, it's like you're sitting down and you're playing a video game.
Yeah.
It kind of
That's
comes down
you
to
know.
like how like Eric and me and my cousin grew up playing. It was all theater of the mind. We never used grids.
Right.
It was all in our heads. We just knew how many feet we were from an end of direction. And what was if something was in the way, we knew about it. But other than that, it was just picture it in your mind, because your picture in your mind is 100 times better than what I can show. It's like the first Halloween movie. You never see him like visibly kill anybody. It's all shown off screen because what you imagine is way worse than anything they can show on the screen.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm all for keeping it simple. I think that was a good topic to close on. The next one we have is very involved, so I don't want it to run too long in the tooth. Anybody got some closing thoughts or concerns? Any topics you want to add to? Any remarks?
No, I think it was a solid one.
Yeah. I can't think of anything.
Me either.
All right then. So we'll go from top to bottom. We're signing out here. Chanel and Daniel, say goodbye.
Bye.
Eric, say goodbye.
Bye.
Jaime, say goodbye.
Have a good night, everybody, or good morning whenever you hear this. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I ditto that comment, and I, along with them, am out of here.